Welcome, Contractor Sales Academy podcast. Steve, Derek, and Tom, we're all here again today. Good to see you guys. So, Derek, I know you got some Wi-Fi issues on your property today, huh? What's going on there?
Had some storms blowing through, and blew some trees down. That's okay though. Technology will prevail.
There you go. So you are not on Wi-Fi, but you're on your cell service. So hopefully we're all good there.
Yep.
Steve's on what, four weeks now since you had knee surgery. Hopefully that's
Friday. I'll be 4 weeks.
okay. Which I know has been a real bitch for you.
Yeah, with a capital B.
Well, you'll be out running soon. You were chopping a tree down the other day on your trail or something.
Yep, that's because I'm stupid.
So you know what? So let's just jump right into this. This is case in point to what we're going to talk about. Like, you don't just have knee surgery within not even a month yet and go out and take an axe and start chopping a tree unless you have what, Steve?
Grit.
Like, that's no shit.
So what is the definition of grit? Anybody want to care to tell us what you think it is?
Well, I'm going to cheat because I have it right behind me on my wall.
What's it say?
It says it's a noun, strength of character, perseverance, and passion for long-term goals. So perseverance and passion for long-term goals. So Steve, my guess is your pursuit of wanting to be healthy and hike and do the shit you want to do probably caused you to grab an axe and go out there and take some action, try to recover quickly, get healthy, whatever you're doing. But, you know, before we hit record, we were talking about, I think it was Angela Duckworth. She did a TED talk on grit. And Steve, you were the one that started sharing a little bit about that. And then Derek was like, hey, wait, hit record. So why don't we pick it up there?
So, you know, my definitions will never appear in Webster's dictionary because I use too many foul words to make it into the dictionary. But I swear to God, it's getting up every day and doing the shit nobody wants to do to achieve that long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the goddamn woods, chopping a tree down, and no one else is looking. You guys called in on a conference call, and like you hear it in the background, you're like, Steve, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like, well, I'm chopping a log down that went across my path, and I got my knee replaced, so it's a bitch for me to just get over this log. So I thought I'd remove it. So I went and got my axe, got it sharpened by a guy in the street, and just a short hour later, I had that son of a bitch moved. But grit is truly the difference between those people that are successful and those that aren't.
You know, so, but you touched on something there that was even as important. You know, you can just grind shit out and you can just be grinding, right? But what you did, you actually took your intelligence and went, so I'm not going to go down here with a dull axe and just start chopping on this thing. I'm going to go see somebody, sharpen my axe, and then go back and grind it out. I mean, there's something to be said about that too.
Well, before we get too deep into that, I think it's only fitting at this point, Derek, since you brought up the word axe, that you tell us the story that you told us the other day about an axe when you were a kid.
Oh. Yeah. I was like, where is he going with this? So my neighbor, Billy Edgen was his name. He's actually passed recently, and he was well into his 90s, and this dude was in crazy shape, like crazy shape. And I remember I was 16 years old and looked out my window and I saw Billy Edgen next door chopping wood. I've never chopped wood, and just went over there and was just kind of hanging out with my neighbor, and it's like, you know, Billy, I've never chopped wood before. And he was like, seriously? All right, son, let me show you how to chop wood. So he got me set up. He put the stump there. He put the log on there, and he said, okay, this is how you line up on it. And I was like, all right. So I pulled it back and I pull down. I overshoot the log and I snap the handle on his grandfather's axe. So it was like, yeah, that was my first experience.
Like an axe from like the 1800s
like,
whatever.
dude, yeah.
They've been in the family for generations, and thanks to Derek Johnson.
Yep. I
He's
snapped it.
super gluing that wood back together now. Great.
Man, it was not good. It was not good at all. There was not enough Gorilla Glue to put that thing back together.
All right. Well, I just thought that made me chuckle first time you told us that. So anyway, Steve, you went and got your axe sharpened, right? And then you're chopping. Pick it back up.
Well, I think that the thing was, first off, I'm just going to tell you, I think it was a stupid thing for me to do, because you're right. 3 weeks out of a knee replacement shouldn't have been chopping an axe, but this was a battle between me and myself. And I knew it the whole time. I saw the log. I'm like, I don't want the log there. I don't want to call somebody else to take care of this log. I want the goddamn thing removed now. So I figured out a game plan. Now, understand, I walk everywhere with a cane right now, and I limp like that 90-year-old man that Derek ruined his axe. That's how I walk around, or probably worse. So it was just a battle, and I got to tell you, when you build a business, it's a battle between you and yourself all the time to do what you know you should be doing every single day. So when you get to the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year, you're not just taking a huge shoebox full of receipts and handing them to some accountant going, here, fix my shit, because you refuse to fix your shit all along the way. And it's that determination, that self-determination that lies between your ears on a daily basis and a weekly basis and a monthly basis that makes you do all that shit. Those people that do that stuff, they build businesses, real businesses with real bank accounts. They're the ones at the end of it that go, yeah, I had a good ass life. Those other motherfuckers that sit there with nothing in the bank going, I hung every good poster on my wall. I don't know why I'm not getting better. I have everything, every trite saying I can come up with. I said it. I read every book. That shit doesn't do shit for you. If you read something good and you put it down and do nothing, that's just a waste of the time it took you to read that book.
So that playing off of the grit, when I think about any success that I've had, it really came from doing things when I didn't want to do it. I knew it needed to be done. And it's easy, right? When it's like, oh, cool, this is fun, this is exciting, this is very fulfilling, and I really have a strong purpose here. This is amazing, motivated, it's great. Cruise through it. But it's when you take those moments where it's like, I really need to get those receipts or what have you, or make that phone call, or, complete the project, or show up a little bit early, stay a little bit late, because you really want to do something else. But when you just stick to it and just use the grit that's in.
One of those storms came through, Tom, so I'm going to finish Derek's sentence. They said,
you do them when you don't want to do it.
Derek, repeat that. You froze out.
I feel like that's the secret sauce. When you really just do things that you need to do when you don't want to do them. Every time I do it, it's just if I have to make a phone call and I got a bunch of leads I need to contact, and I just don't feel like it. Every single time I do it, I feel like I have a better win personally, but then also financially. It's like something how the universe just lines up and it goes, just be lazy right now. But just on the other side of it is really the big job that you want. But just be lazy. Don't bother.
So I have a question for Tom. How does this grit tie into, we basically talk about sales, but we talk business and we talk attitude and we talk a whole lot of topics, but basically we're the Contractor Sales Academy. How does this grit translate to what we're talking about in terms of the CSA?
Yeah, well, I think, earlier we mentioned, that TED Talk, and she's got a book, Angela Duckworth. People should check out the TED Talk. It's pretty cool. But there's this article, and in it, she just said, grit is sticking with your future day in and day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for the years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. And sales is it's a competitive thing. There's somebody out there that's trying to take, food off of your plate and put it on their plate for their family. You're trying to take, money from your bank account, put it in their bank account. And it's, I think one of the key elements to grit is that just having that resilience that, I'm going to keep getting up, almost like I'm too stupid to quit. Right. And sometimes that's okay. I think of, all the no's you get in sales and all the objections and all the, people shopping your price and, trying to put you back on your heels. You've just got to have your mind wired that, well, I'm in this for the long haul. And okay, I might get my ass kicked on this one sale this week, but it doesn't mean, Steve, you and I have talked before long ago. I can't remember last time we had this conversation, but like we're in it to win the war, the long-term war here. And you know what? You're going to get your butt kicked a little bit along the way, but you got to just keep getting up. And to me, that's what sales is. If you're not fighting in some way, shape, or form to hit your sales and revenue goals, I don't think you're trying hard enough. I don't think you're being aggressive enough. Close it. Guys, we see it all the time. Guys are like, I close 90% of my leads and all this other shit. Yeah, but you know what? Then you're probably not selling at high enough rates if you're not getting any resistance. So there's always, and I don't mean to come across like selling is necessarily hard. I think it's challenging, but if you're never getting any resistance that you have to fight through, then you're probably not pushing hard enough.
It's funny, when you and I first started this, Tom, we used to get feedback and kickback and pushback all the time. Go, wait. Where's the easy button? Where's the silver bullet? This sales shit. Come on, man. I just want a few word tracks and I'm out. I'll master that. And we're like, dude, we got nothing that's easy. We got nothing that's a silver bullet. All we got is, it's a great opportunity and it will change your life. But man, it is disguised as hard work. Period.
Well, the grit comes out in all the role plays and the practice.
That's exactly right.
It's like, and that's what, keeping your future on your radar. Where do I want to get to? A lot of guys come into the group and they look at some of the more experienced members that are freaking crushing it. And they're like, well, why am I not there yet? Well, you haven't put the time in, man. You haven't been resilient yet.
That cracks me up when you say that, because I think about like the slew of the black belts that we have now, and every single one of them had to get really uncomfortable. And that's the thing. It's like, you think just role play, it's no big deal, right? You just get on a phone, somebody plays contractor, somebody plays customer. Well, you're having to do this while running a business and having a life. So it's like, you're having to shift. You're having to add another element of work into your already, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably just treading water and just trying to just get air at this point. And then you come into a group like this and we go, oh yeah, in order to do this, you got to get 17 points in 1 week. That's no big deal, right? Only averaging 3 additional phone calls that you have to make, 3.5 or whatever it is, amongst everything else that you have to do. Yep. But the people that did it.
Hey, Derek, to explain, how many role plays to become a black belt?
100 points. So you get 1 point for playing contractor and a half a point for playing customer.
No. How many role plays do you have to do to I thought it was 200 to be a black belt. You got to get
I'm sorry. You're correct. Sorry. I'm yes. So, 200 role plays.
Just for the record, Derek made this shit up and he doesn't even know. It's 200 role plays.
It is 200. I was thinking of what it takes to get your first degree black belt.
It doesn't matter. And when you make a phone call, now this is pretend practice, playing contractor, playing customer with someone else trying to learn the same thing. How long does each role play? When you call someone out, how long does that take roughly?
Well, if you do it like no bullshit, it takes about 20 minutes.
Okay.
But so if you get on there and you small talk. That is
4,000. Forget the small talk. Suppose you're serious. That's 4,000 minutes, right?
That's 67 hours.
Yeah, 67 hours of time. So that, I just want people to know that in order for you to get, and how many hours does it take to be a master at anything, according to Malcolm Gladwell? How many?
10,000.
10,000.
10,000. So this is 67 hours, right? So think about that. That you talk about grit. Like you said, Derek, that is somebody who is trying to run a business, have a life, talk with their family, do all this shit, and they're adding 67 hours on top of, and that typically over, how many months does it take the typical black belt to happen?
If you're consistent, you can do it in 3. But the average is probably 6 is realistic.
So they're basically putting about 11 hours a week in. Did I get my math right? 10, 11 hours a week.
Sure.
Okay, well, 10 times 6 is 60.
Well,
so
yeah, so 6 weeks would be 10 a week. 10
Yeah, that's
hours a
funny.
week would be 60. So
I never saw 3 more successful guys that can't add for shit up in my whole life.
See, that's you don't have to
later away.
you don't have to be able to. You just have to know somebody that is successful at numbers.
Here's the good news about putting all that practice time in that we see. Every role play you do, you get a little better in real life. So it's not necessarily that you're adding that much to your plate each week, because as you commit and go all in and burn your boats and get better, you will actually be saving a lot of that windshield time and this and that. So you're going to replace all that wasted time with productive time. You're going to learn how to get people off the phone quicker that are not your clients. You're going to learn how to make sure that when you do get in your truck and you go out there and you meet somebody, that you're actually going to get paid, and it's not just chasing a unicorn. So I don't want people to be freaked out going, oh my God, I got to add 8 to 10 hours to my already crazy work week. It's going to be challenging in the beginning for sure until you find your groove, but that's anything, right? No matter what you're going to do, what you get better at, there's going to be that time where you got to get used to your new normal.
That's a great way to put it, Tom, because it does shift. And I remember that shift. All of a sudden, pre-qualifying, I wasn't running around, and then I had this surplus of time that allowed me to work on my business, not just in my business. And that I still look back, and I'm kind of chasing that. When I first started doing this, I remember being so excited, literally sitting on the couch at night. I had an iPad, and I'm just going through, and I'm starting to look at my website differently, and I'm starting to look at different forms because I have the time. I'm not like I wasn't wiped out, and was looking like, okay, how can I set these appointments up? How can I, and then I started cranking down on my numbers. It really was a cool shift. And I was having and I'm still having fun, but it's like, there's that one little section of your career or your life, that's like the most fun. Maybe it's summer break or whatever that you always remember. I remember several months when I started getting a little bit better and removing some of the tire kickers, having some tough conversations. And it was just like, man, this is freaking fun. And I'm still chasing that, right? Like I want that same feeling where I'm going now. And a lot of that comes from this group and seeing the other success. So it's interesting how that I'm seeing other successful people experience what I experienced.
It's funny when Tom says we're not asking you to tack 10 hours onto your already busy week. You know how many people on this planet piss away 10 hours a week?
Yeah.
Netflix, Facebook, podcasts, all this shit. Think about it. Tom, when you were coaching football, how many hours a week did you put into coaching football?
Well, during the season from basically June through November, it was a good 6 to 7 hours a day.
Okay, 6 to 7 hours a day. And you did that not for the money, but for the love of it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, and Derek, I know we came up with this whole black belt business because you used to be in that world, right?
Yeah.
And how many hours a week did you spend learning your craft back when you were in it?
Man, a lot.
Give me a number.
A lot.
Give me a number.
Realistically, so this is how I broke it down. It's like sleep for 8 hours. I work for 8 hours, and that leaves me another 8 hours. So 2 of those hours realistically was family. So I'd say, right around 6 hours a day consistently. Yeah. It was just that get home, dinner, done, boom. And then the rest of the evening was me in that world.
So the point is, if you really want something, then you'll find a way to find those 10 hours a week. or 5 hours a week or whatever you need to find, you'll find it. But like, and you know, as the saying goes, if not, man, you'll find an excuse not to do it. So that's grit, man. That's those people that just say, you know what, screw this. They find a way to make it happen. Because I'm telling you, of all the things you could learn in your life, this way to communicate with people on this planet is probably the biggest game changer that you will ever have in your whole life. And I'm not bullshitting you. And we have many, many people on a weekly basis tell us that. Man, I came to sell something. Then I stayed to make more money. Then I realized I'm saving a shitload of time. And then the real fun began. Because with all this extra time, they discovered a whole fucking world out there that was never privy and never open to them because they were just keeping their head down, relieving guilt, staying bullshit busy the whole time. Doing what? Nothing that advanced their true goals in life.
You know, we open this with chopping wood. And isn't that what chopping wood is, though? You know, you just sharpen that saw or that axe, you go out there and you keep swinging. And that, you know, that's grit, right? It's resilience, it's toughness, it's perseverance. So guys, listen, here's the cool thing. You can work really, really hard with bad tools, right? A lot of people work really hard with bad tools. Steve, you could have not sharpened the axe and gone out there, and it would have taken you 3 times as long to do what you had to do. And it's the same way with sales, right? You can go out there and work really hard and you can actually show grit and perseverance and resilience. But if you're not using the right tools, and you know, hey, those tools are what we believe we have here in our Shin Fu process. And honestly, more importantly, the community that we have, you know, that's going to sharpen that axe and help you be more effective as a salesperson. So guys, as we wrap up, any last thoughts here for people listening?
There is no substitute for putting in the work. And every black belt will tell you that. Every successful entrepreneur will tell you that. Mark Cuban will tell you that. You got to put the work in, not excuses, but put the work in, man, because you know what? You get what you work for, not what you wish for.
And that is exactly right. And the shift that I saw was, it was so much easier sharpening my axe, and it was so much more fun because I was literally ready to chop the wood versus before where I was working my ass off, but I just wasn't doing it the smart way. So I've always had grit, but man, it's just so much better when you actually know what to say, know what to do, and you have that community of people around you that you can lean on. That totally. There was a powerful video just today, or I guess yesterday, in our group. I'm sure you guys saw it. We're just talking about where he came from, and my story's his story, and his story's our story. It's the same thing. We're all struggling. We got families, and we'll never see our families, stealing from our families. And then at some point, we start learning how to communicate and pre-qualify people. And it's not just the pre-qualification over the phone. All of a sudden, we start being able to communicate with our team. We start being able to communicate with our families. It's really that whole communication thing. We just say that it's sales, but it's really that whole, it's that life thing. When if you can communicate with somebody on the other end of the phone and become an active listener and understand what they need, all of a sudden your friends, you become an active listener for your friends, your family, your spouses. And it's amazing how everything just gets better.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, if you've been listening to this thing for any length of time, we appreciate that. Give us a review. If you want to learn more about how to kick some more ass in sales, head to contractorsalesacademy.com and see what we got going on there in the bridge. Derek, Steve, appreciate you guys. Derek, hopefully your power comes back on, and Steve, hopefully you heal up quickly and you be back jogging through the woods.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, guys, have a great day.